Hey, this is a video about time-saving techniques in Football Manager, so we're going to talk really fast. We're going to get a lot of things done in a very short amount of time because that's what we're talking about, and oh my goodness, I'm about to run out of breath. I don't think I'm going to make it to the logos thing. Please! All right, let me move this bad boy in here. Are we good? I think so. Today we're talking about time-saving techniques for Football Manager, which is a game that just takes a lot of time to play. Depending on what kind of processing power and how many leagues you have loaded, it could take more time. Video about how to be as efficient as possible with that sort of stuff will be popping up right up there if I remember to put it in. Football Manager, it takes a lot of time, so any ways that you can shave time off of certain aspects of the game, those are useful ways, and there are a lot of little hidden tricks that will allow you to save this time. We're going to go through 10 of them today because I love doing lists of exactly 10 things. You know that, I know that, we know that. I think it's just what we love about each other, really. I'm excited. I love lists. Let's do a list. 10 time-saving tips for Football Manager 2020, and honestly, most of them will probably apply for future or past Football Managers as well, so you're welcome. Can I get some Can I get some choir music, please? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for number one. Number one's a humdinger, and it's one I figured out about a month and a half ago. It's more of an ease of movement around the menus thing, but who doesn't love one of those? It's all about right-clicking on all the panels on the left side. If you right-click on the panels on the left side, you can immediately go to whatever part of that panel on the left side that you would like to go to. For example, if you right-click on, say, tactics, you can immediately go to your set piece takers without ever having to load in a new screen, especially if you have a particularly poor processing computer where loading in a new screen in itself is something to be terrified by, and you're not just trying to save a few seconds, but maybe 30 seconds in a potential crash. You're welcome. And thank you, FM, for putting something like this in the game. It's fairly intuitive, and I just stumbled upon it a few months ago and have used it ever since as a way to more efficiently get around. The only issue you could have with that one is, of course, if you're on a laptop, right-clicking can sometimes be a chore in itself, but you'll figure it out. The second one, please. This is hidden inside the staff responsibilities panel that I'm pretty sure most of you guys ignore because it is just not well designed this year. It will be well designed a few years from now, but they changed a lot of things in it, and it's not well designed this year, so most of you avoid it. But let me show what you might be missing and avoiding it through the overlays. I'm coming down to the corner. If you go into Staff Responsibilities, and you go to Staff, and you go to Advice and Reports, then you've gone to the wrong place. I forget where things are, too, sometimes. I found it, though. It's not in Staff. Silly me. You go to Transfers and Contracts, Offers to Clubs, and here's where you can save yourself some time. You see, right around this area, you will be able to specify all of the different things that have to do with loans, so that when you offer somebody out for a loan, this is essentially what you're going to be asking for. I have it set on 100% salary percentage when playing and when unused, and playing time in as a regular starter. You can also hit all the same check marks. I don't really mess with that. You can play in cup matches. I don't care. If I'm loaning you out development style, it does not matter. You can preset all of that stuff here. There's also a transfer section, which I don't use, but when you offer a player out for transfer, you check this box. It will also automatically transfer list that player. That's not useful for me. I offer players out all the time without transfer listing them, just to fish with dynamite and see if I can get somebody who's willing to pay more than they should. And you can set the percent value that that person is being offered for. So useful stuff in here, but that's not the only thing. But wait, there's more. If you go back up to responsibilities and go down to scouting, this saves me a ton of time. Instead of having to manually shortlist every player that I scout, if I scout a player, you will add them to the shortlist for 1 month. You cannot shortlist, you can shortlist them indefinitely, whatever, but if I scout a player, I shortlist them for a month. Then I just let them go off the shortlist if they're not that good, but it automatically adds them to my shortlist system the moment I scout him. And when you scout a player, watch him until full knowledge. Duh. But if you're just trying to get an idea, you don't have to do that. Those are two useful things that can help you save time in the player acquisition and scouting realm. Just gonna keep doing this. We're already on number 3. I make bets with myself before I start making a video about which aspect of the video people are going to go into the comments and say, I already knew that. This was my guess for that one. The reason being is it's fairly intuitive, but the reason it's on the list is it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize you could actually use this. There are things called check marks. They are next to the names of players in a lot of different situations, and if you click those check marks multiple at a time, you are able to then follow through on actions on multiple players at a time, like scouting or offering trials, and so on and so forth. It is to my endless frustration that this is not the case on these shortlist notifications, and if anybody has a way to get the check marks next to these things for shortlist notifications, I will be indebted to you massively. Check marks I'm talking about will pop up on something like a shortlist, so if I want to scout all the people that are on my admittedly too massive shortlist that do not have current reports on them, I will be able to hit these check marks, and you can go one at a time. And if you don't miss a check mark, it will keep going. The problem for me is I can't click. Then, if you click on one and then scroll, hold shift, click on another one, something was supposed to happen. It did not happen. I will now figure out why. I want you to know, this was a bad one. You see, I have 2 computers, which means I have 2 keyboards. Allow me to show you the alignment for when I shoot a video. I got 2 keyboards. The issue was that I was touching the wrong keyboard. Let's try that again. All right, we use these check marks to select. Scroll, hold shift. I'm dead inside. How did it still not work? It does work, obviously. There we go. You just hold shift and you click the check mark, and you will be able to pick it up much faster than I did. It's amazing how I'm able to do this. No, it's not amazing, but what I have been able to do is work 3 into 4 almost directly, because why would you want to select all these players at once and then have to actually go into the player and ruin all of your progress? Number 4 prevents you from having to, let's say, click on this guy and then do whatever the heck you want to do with Gustavo Mantun, because then all of a sudden all of your highlighted players have gone away, and if you're not pushing caps lock and actually pushing shift, then it'll work. So we've selected all these players. Well, now all you have to do is right click the player. And if he's already on your team, you'll have a lot more options than this. You can compare with right from here. You can find your comparisons to guys on your team. You can scout, you can transfer. Let's go to my squad and right click a player. Well, we can, I can set his transfer status from right here with a check mark. You don't have to load anything in. And so you can highlight multiple players and say, I want to take all these guys off the loan list. I go up here, I click on this guy. I go down here, I click on this guy, and I go to transfer, loan status, no status set. I can remove the loan status of every single one of these players with just about 2 clicks. The enemy is 2 clicks north of our position. How shall we proceed? Get blown out by 4 goals. Got it. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, that was the last thought I had on it, but this is just an extra little tidbit. You're still watching the video, or you're like, damn, I'm having fun. You go in here, you right click on a player. If you go into squad, this is like, for some reason, the only place where you can find agreed playing time. If you right click on the player, you go to agreed playing time, and this is where you can change it. For some reason, when you go into the player themselves on the basic skin, you just, far as I'm aware, nobody's been able to find it, cannot change the agreed playing time. You know, Cinco de Mayo is like my favorite holiday. I celebrate it almost every year. This one's for you lonely souls out there that are looking for a couple more people on the scouting market. Did you hear that? Kind of hurt. If you search through players, and basically everybody that ever plays Football Manager is going to be using the player search feature, you actually have the ability to save those player searches so that you do not have to go and methodically re-enter all of the information while the game, for some reason, tries to load in that information behind you, which can slow things down tremendously. This can actually get to the point where people post different search parameters. You can save them and upload them. You go to Steam, you can find search parameters and download them for certain things. Recommend checking it out. It's not a very popular feature yet, but it is possible. Here's how you save them, though, just for yourself. You go Squadly Douche and Squadly Douche, click on player search right there. Then you go to edit search and you clear off any weird things like people 6'5" and up that you might have had in before. You say, I want to have a save where people with 6 months expiring contracts and they happen to have like, one youth appearance or whatever, and that's it. We're gonna save current filter, and we go in and go skadoosh. It's not how you spell skadoosh, I don't think. And you save it, and that's it. If you want to re-access it, you just click and then click skadoosh. It'll come back up. I'll prove that to you by getting rid of this stuff and then re-skadooshing it. Very helpful. Just saves time. I suppose is kind of like the point of the video, but... So we're going on to number 6, and I got a fun fact about 6 for you. It's the only number that is both the sum and the product of 3 consecutive positive numbers. Ow. I really do hate math, but I have something that you won't hate, and that you can also save your searches for staff. I know some people don't set their staff. I am always a proponent of setting your staff. It's something that affects the game in a lot of ways you don't see. So when you set your staff, you can save your staff searches, and I might actually go through on FMBase and start uploading my staff search parameters so that you can use them, in which case you won't even have to come up with your own parameters, because I haven't made a staff video yet, so we need to get on that. I apologize. I will make one eventually, but right now, setting staff parameters and search parameters for each different staff role is something that will save you a lot of time when you're trying to create that best staff possible. All you have to do is you have to go to staff and then staff search. And then immediately you're going to be greeted with something that looks exactly like player search, except when you go in here, it doesn't. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of our pre-requirements, just put any on everything, and now we want to look for a coach. We're going to look for an attacking technical coach. So we want determination, motivating, and discipline, which are all the holy trinities. We're going to go ahead and put those at least 12, and then we want attacking and technical. So we want all of those things at 12, and then we go, great, that's awesome. We've got 6 coaches that meet those parameters because I think it's finally loaded in. We click on the little wheel, save the current filter, and you come up with some catchy name like attacking technical coach. If you're someone like me who sets the staff all the way down through the U19s, this will save actual hours every time you go through the off season. That is said without a drop of over-exaggeration. Now we're on number 7, so naturally I'm looking for fun facts about number 7. Fortunately, express.uk, hopefully they're not a bad website, has a list of 10 fun facts about number 7. Disney chose his names for Snow White's 7 dwarves from a list of 47. That has nothing to do with 7. This is a terrible website. Okay, actually, number 7 is something that has to do with training, which, since it was overhauled for last year's game, isn't something too many people have tangled with. There is a way for you to make multiple changes to the training schedule without having to hit confirm. It'll make sense. Right in here, if we go to training, we can go to calendar, and this is where you're going to see how all the training things are going to go down. So we'll go ahead to the next month, and this is my training schedule leading up to a beautiful match against Dortmund on my Twitch save. Did I mention that I stream on Twitch? Haha, gotcha. I stream on Twitch 4 days a week. 3 days a week, it's Football Manager. Usually in the 4th day, we're hanging out with the subs, who we call the Hammers. I stream on Twitch, and you can follow with the link down below, get a notification when I go live. While I'm at it, you can also subscribe and like this video. You can like it if you're enjoying it, and subscribe if you're looking for more content like this. I also have a personal YouTube. You might notice when you click the link that there's nothing on it. I'm still deciding what I want to do with it. Just go directions. It might not even be Football Manager based, and just have fun with other things. Alas, that has not happened yet. You can subscribe for when it does happen. Now, back to the action. So we're here. We're looking at our Dortmund match in the Euro Cup 2, and whatever it's called. It's the Europa Conference League, I think. And we want to add a match review. I already talked to you about match reviews. For some reason, the game doesn't add them for any reason. Well, I can click on this space, click physical, click recovery, and then I used to think you just, I'm going to click confirm, and that locks it in, right? You can actually make multiple changes in one go. So I can change that to match review, and if I want, I can change this to overall, and then I click confirm, and all of the changes have been made. You can set a whole week's training at a time and make all the adjustments you need to make. I don't know, maybe I was just the idiot that thought you had to hit confirm after making every single change, or else it would go back to the way it was. But hopefully there is one other person like me, at least, that's out there. If you mess with training, you at least want to be adding match reviews, and you can also add those recoveries after matches in case the training doesn't quite pick up on the fact you have a match. This is an easy way to do that without taking really much time at all. Gonna like this. For number 8, we have 8 funky facts about 8. In China, 8 expresses the totality of the universe. Number 8 isn't necessarily in the mold of all of the other tips I've given so far. It's more of a when you've hit a wall, this is something you can do instead of wasting hours upon hours following my advice looking for staff members. See, there's a little problem when it comes to signing staff members at a club like Bate Borisov, who I'm currently managing on Twitch, and that is that you don't necessarily have a huge cap on how much money you can spend for people. So when I'm looking for head of youth development, I can only spend about $75,000 per year. They're asking for $400,000 per year, and I can't seem to find a single person who is going to be able to get under my threshold, at least a person I like, right? So here's what you do instead. You go to staff, you go to job center. You then go to the bottom right corner, which I'm gonna make myself disappear. Voila. You go to the bottom right corner, you go to place advert, and then you can place an advertisement for any type of staff member. And after placing the ad, you usually have to wait a week or two, and all of the people that are actually interested and are willing to accept the amount of money that you can pay them will come to you. And you can save a lot of time instead of having to go through 100, 150 people just to find the 5 that are willing to accept the amount of money that you're offering. Number 9. I forgot to look up facts for number 9, so we're just going to go right into it. Number 9 is the ability to save team selections. This changed my life when I realized it was possible. It's not something I'm using on my Twitch save right now because there's so much constant rotation. But if you have, a starting team, a backup team, or really just a starting team, and then you kind of rotate for cup matches, and then you have to go and drag all the people back, you forget a goalkeeper here, you forget somebody there, whatever, you can actually save team selections so that you can just click, click, boom. And all of a sudden they're right there, just like me. Saving the team selection, you just go to the top right, and you click save team selection, and then you go click, click, boom, and you save the team selection so that if I don't accidentally hit a side button, get wonderfully lost in the entire thing, switch Saeed Arab and Francisco? Francesco. It had to be one of the two. We swap old Francesco down here, but no, we want him back. We want click, click, boom. It's right there. Boom, he's back. Now we're on to number 10. Fun fact about number 10, it means we're almost done. Number 10 is going to require me to do some legwork. I'm going to have to go back to a stream and find an example of it because I can't just pull it up willy-nilly. But if you are dealing with someone who's getting a lot of transfer offers or loan offers, you can go through and accept the ones you want and then click a little button at the bottom that will allow you to automatically reject all the unresponded offers. So if you have one of those bells of the ball that 25 people want as their important player paying their full wage on a loan or whatever, and you only found 2 or 3 teams that were worthy of your incredible player, you can go to the bottom and reject all the unresponded and go on your merry freaking way with a lot more free time. Or you just find the transfer offer you want and say screw you to everybody else, go down to the bottom, reject all unresponded. That's it. And now, good ladies and sirs of YouTube, I am done with your 10 time-saving tips. Let me know if this was a helpful video for you, and also, of course, hit the comments with any video ideas that you might have. That's where I get most of my video ideas for things that I'm going to publish. I schedule a couple of weeks out, but if you make a recommendation in the comments, it might just be popping up on you. In a very short amount of time, because that's what we're talking about, and oh my goodness, I'm about to run out of breath. I don't think I'm going to make it to the logos thing. Please! Okay. I think that was the one. Oh.